Welcome to Learn English Podcast.
A life with no one. Learn English through story. Hello everyone, whether you're just starting to learn English or you're looking to improve your speaking skills, you've come to the right place before we start this video. Be sure to subscribe to my channel to get daily videos, and I don't want you to miss any of our lessons. I am an old man now. My hair is white and my hands are weak, but my heart remembers everything. When I was a little boy, my life was very hard. I had no family. My parents died when I was 5 years old. I did not have brothers or sisters. I was alone in the world. Every day I woke up hungry. I did not have enough food to eat. My clothes were old and torn, and my shoes had big holes. In the summer, my feet burned on the hot ground. In the winter, my toes were so cold I could not feel them. I did not go to school. I wanted to learn, but I could not. I had to work. I sold newspapers, candies, and anything people would buy. Some people gave me a little money. Some just ignored me and walked away. I spent my days on the streets. The streets were loud and full of people, but I always felt alone. Nobody stopped to ask, "How are you?" or "Do you need help?" They looked at me like I was invisible. Sometimes I sat in a dark corner and cried. I thought, why is my life so hard? Why do I have no one to love me? But crying did not help. I still had to wake up the next day and do the same things again. One winter night, it was very cold. I had no home to go to. I found a small corner near a shop. I sat there, holding my knees close to my chest to keep warm. My stomach hurt because I was so hungry. My hands were red and shaking from the cold. That night I looked up at the sky. The stars were bright, but they did not make me feel happy. I thought, do the stars know how I feel? Do they see me down here, all alone? The nights were always the hardest for me. During the day, I could see people, hear voices, and feel a little less lonely. But at night, the streets were quiet. The only sound was the wind, and it made me feel even colder. One night, as I was sitting in my corner, a man walked by. He was wearing a big coat and carrying a bag. He stopped and looked at me. For a moment, I thought he might help me, but then he said, "Get out of here, boy. This is not your place." His words hurt me more than the cold. Sometimes kind people gave me food. I remember one old woman. She had gray hair and kind eyes. She gave me a piece of bread and said, "Eat, child. You need this more than I do." I thanked her, but I wanted to cry. That bread was the best thing I had tasted in weeks. I also made friends with a stray dog. He was small and thin like me. He followed me around, and I gave him little pieces of food when I had some. We kept each other warm or cold nights. I named him Buddy. Buddy was my only friend. One day, I found a broken toy in the trash. It was a small car with one wheel missing. I picked it up and cleaned it. I kept it in my pocket. That car became my treasure. When I felt sad, I took it out and pretended I was driving far away to a better place. Every morning, I woke up early and went to the market. I carried heavy bags for people. Some gave me coins and some just smiled and walked away. I saved every coin I earned. I dreamed of buying a warm coat and a pair of shoes without holes. But no matter how hard I worked, life didn't get easier. The hunger, the cold, and the loneliness never left me. I often asked myself, will my life always be like this? Will I ever find a way out? One rainy evening, I sat under a small roof near the market. My clothes were wet, and my body was shaking from the cold. Buddy was next to me, trying to stay dry. I hugged him tightly, hoping the rain would stop soon. While I sat there, I saw a little boy with his mother. The boy was wearing a bright red coat and shiny black shoes. He held his mother's hand and laughed. I couldn't stop staring at him. His laughter reminded me of something. I had lost long ago happiness. I remembered my own mother. Her smile was warm and her hands were soft. She used to hold me close and tell me stories, but those days were gone. She was gone. I didn't even know where my father was. I was alone in the world, with no one to care for me. One day, a shopkeeper caught me looking at the food in his window. I wasn't stealing, but I was hungry. Go away, boy, he shouted. You can't afford anything here. His words stung, but I walked away without saying a word. I was used to people treating me like that. At night, I often looked up at the stars. They were so far away, so bright and free. I wished I could be like them, far from the pain and sadness of my life. I whispered my dreams to the stars. Please, give me a chance, I would say, but the stars stayed silent. One morning I found an old, torn blanket in the trash. It smelled bad, but it was better than nothing. I wrapped it around me and felt a little warmer. It wasn't much, but it was mine. It was the closest thing I had to comfort. Even though life was hard, I tried to stay strong. I told myself one day things will change. I just have to keep going, but deep inside I was tired. My heart felt heavy, and my dreams seemed so far away. One cold winter night, I sat by the side of the road. Snow was falling, and the air was freezing. My hands were red, and my feet were numb. I didn't have shoes, only thin sandals that didn't protect me from the cold. Buddy curled up next to me, shivering. I held him close, sharing whatever little warmth I had. I saw people walking by, wearing warm coats and scarves. Some of them looked at me, but no one stopped. I could feel their pity, but pity didn't help me. I wanted someone to see me, to understand me, but all they saw was a poor, dirty boy. That night I had no food. My stomach growled loudly, and I felt weak. I closed my eyes and tried to sleep, but the cold wouldn't let me. I thought about my mother again. I wondered if she was watching me from heaven. Mama, I whispered, I'm trying to be brave. I miss you so much. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of footsteps. A man in a black coat stood in front of me. He had a kind face, but his eyes were sad. He knelt down and handed me a piece of bread. Eat, he said softly. I took the bread with shaky hands and said, thank you. It was the first kind word I had heard in a long time. As I ate, the man sat beside me. He didn't ask me questions or tell me what to do. He just stayed there, silent and calm. For the first time, I felt like someone saw me, not just a poor boy, but a human being. When the man left, I felt a little stronger. His small act of kindness gave me hope. Maybe the world wasn't all bad. Maybe, just maybe, there were still good people out there, but hope didn't last long. The streets were still cold and life was still hard. Each day was a battle, and I had no choice but to keep fighting. Yet, deep in my heart, I held on to that small moment of kindness. It was like a tiny light in the darkness. One day I woke up feeling sick. My head was heavy and my body was weak. I tried to stand, but my legs shook and I fell back down. Buddy barked softly as if he knew I wasn't well. I looked at him and whispered, I'm okay, buddy, don't worry. But I wasn't okay. The streets were busy that day. People walked past me without stopping. I tried to ask for help, but my voice was too quiet. I felt invisible, like I didn't exist. Buddy stayed close, licking my hand, trying to comfort me. He was the only one who cared. As the sun went down, I felt colder than ever. My body ached, and I couldn't stop shaking. I remembered the days when I was a little boy, sitting on my mother's lap. Her arms were warm, and her voice was soft. Be strong, my son, she used to say. But how could I be strong when I felt so alone? That night I dreamed of my mother. She was smiling at me, her arms open wide. Come to me, she said. I ran to her, but just as I reached her, she disappeared. I woke up with tears in my eyes. The dream felt so real, but it was only a memory. The next morning, a kind woman stopped in front of me. She had a warm smile and gentle eyes. "Are you okay?" she asked. I wanted to tell her everything, but I didn't know where to start. Instead, I just shook my head. She gave me a warm blanket and a piece of bread. "Take care of yourself," she said, before walking away. Her kindness reminded me of my mother. For a moment, I felt like I wasn't alone. But as the day went on, the streets grew louder and the feeling faded. I was back to being just another face in the crowd. I learned that life on the streets was full of small moments of hope and long hours of pain. Each kind act gave me strength, but the struggles always returned. Still, I told myself to keep going. "You've made it this far," I whispered to myself. "Don't give up now." One evening, the rain started to fall. It was cold and heavy, and I had no place to hide. Buddy and I sat under a small roof, trying to stay dry. The streets were empty, and the sound of rain was the only thing I could hear. I hugged Buddy tightly, whispering, "We'll get through this. Just hold on." That night I thought about my life. I had spent so many years fighting to survive. I wondered if things would ever get better. I remembered the days when I was a child, dreaming of a brighter future. Those dreams felt so far away now. Suddenly I heard footsteps. A young man in a black coat stood in front of me. He held an umbrella and looked at me with kind eyes. "Are you all right, sir?" he asked. His voice was soft but full of concern. I didn't know what to say. The man crouched down and smiled. "I see you have a friend," he said, pointing at Buddy. "He's a loyal dog." I nodded. "He's all I have," I replied. My voice was weak, but he listened carefully. The man sat next to me, sharing his umbrella. He told me about his own struggles, how he had once been homeless too. "Someone helped me when I had nothing," he said. "Now I want to help you." His words felt like a warm light in the darkness. He handed me a small card. "This is a shelter nearby," he said. "They can give you food and a place to sleep. You don't have to be alone anymore." I held the card tightly, feeling hope for the first time in years. As the man walked away, I looked at Buddy and smiled. "Maybe things can change," I whispered. The rain continued to fall, but it didn't feel as cold anymore. I stood up, holding the card in my hand. For the first time in a long time, I took a step toward a new beginning. Buddy wagged his tail and walked beside me. Together, we left the dark streets behind, hoping for a better tomorrow. Thank you for joining me in today. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming lessons. Keep practicing. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next lesson.